we were dead center. I mean, literally
You're
right
right.
dead center. Yeah. Look, and I was there. I was out there, and it was crazy.
PJ, one of the owners of Bishop, stopped by my office the other day, and he's like,
Greene.
okay, he's like, thank God we didn't have that steel up.
All right, we'll get going
You
here,
have to try
so
to get this deal.
we can wrap this up pretty quick. Call the meeting to order. We'll start with reading the approval of the minutes for our June 17th, 2021 meeting. Need a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from June 17th meeting.
Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And on to the finance report.
I've reviewed the minutes, not the minutes, I'm sorry, the finance reports, and I make a motion to accept the finance detail, the check detail as presented.
Thank you. Need a second on that?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I've reviewed the cash flow statements as presented, and I'll make a motion to accept the cash flow statements as presented.
Thank you. I need a second on that.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Kevin?
You got the right-
On to yours.
Okay, so real quick, that, because it's been, most of the month's been working on the Hudson Champlain Power Express finding statement. But again, so we've formed through on exit 21 East. We were going through the county, through the freeway there, working as fast as they can. Back to seeing the check detail, we just cut them a check for almost 90,000
Yeah, 8,250.
for, because they have to the throughway, we paid for the appraisals.
Initial.
Now the county has to repay for them, and the throughway will reimburse us, so at some point we'll see a check back from the throughway on that. So things are moving as well and as quickly as we can on that. On the west side, the one thing to report is that we did execute a new option agreement with Columbia Memorial. On the Hudson Champlain Power Express, working on a finding statement. I have not had an official reaction from our counteroffer, our final counteroffer. I did get an email from them last night saying, I know you have a board meeting tomorrow. Our apologies, we've just been jammed up with other stuff. We will get back to you. No harm, no foul, because again, it's non-negotiable, and I'm working on the finding statement now. This one's gonna be a little lengthier than usual, just because of both the taxing jurisdictions involved, and I probably did this as much for my own edification as anything, but I kind of took a deep dive into what were other transmission line projects paying, similar projects. So to get, kind of give you a rough idea, like Coxsackie Athens, I think I told you, Coxsackie Athens, the CSX rail right away through the whole town, or through the whole school district, paid 86,000 last year. The pilot, I think, is just under 600,000 for the first year, which will be on top of that, don't forget, though, the 86. So typically, so we looked at Iroquois, we looked at these gas liners. I know I told you guys this last month, I apologize, but most of this stuff at the high point, CSX pays about $25,000 per mile all in. This is going to be more like 88 or 89,000 a mile right out the bat the first year, and then goes up. So I don't see we're going to have any problems with anybody. All the towns are on board. I have not talked to the school districts yet. And I know what the deal is with these guys. We're going to rush and get this thing done, and then they're going to sit on and not sign it for 2 years. And so they got their numbers, what they need right now. I'm just taking my time to do the finding statement and do it right, and et cetera, on that. So that's about it on that. So under new projects, we do have an application in from Wilder Wyndham. Wilder is a new group that bought the Thompson House in Wyndham, which is a great resort in good shape. If you're not from, I did a little research on Wilder. They own 2 other resort properties, one in California in Death Valley, and one on Tillman Island in Maryland. And both, the Tillman Island, they took an old historic, I think it was a camp or something. So that's what they look for. They look for these signature kind of unique properties that are a little different than other things. So they're talking about, they've asked for the full suite of benefits, sales, mortgaging, and otherwise, but they're looking at a total project cost on their numbers at like, let's say, 20.9 million. Now, I don't know where they're putting that kind of, they've got them, because, you know, they've got the land acquisition about 2.2, architects 1.2, and they've got down, well, see, they got things in here like the construction loan and interest, which we guessed for. But construction costs on the retrofit, they have down about 8.5 and another 2.5 on FFE. So they did come in and meet with me yesterday, two of the.
Renee,
Yes.
how many buildings are on that property?
I don't know the exact number, but there are multiple buildings. Some of them are former like single family residences, I think, that have been bought up around the edge at times and were being used for housing. Because I know he told me one of the things they had to do was they had to get those reclassified from residential housing to resort, because it almost screwed him up with something. Do you remember what he was telling me? I forgot. I never heard of it before, but it kind of screwed him up with the clothes. But I'd say, Maggie, there's got to be 8 or 10 of them out there. There's the one big, you know where the resort is? That's the one when you.
Right across the bridge.
Yeah, right across the bridge there, the old Victorian looking one, the tall one. So, yeah, numbers of buildings there, and a lot of it's going to be re-siding, refinishing. So they've got to refine their budget, because, you know, I looked at it again, same thing, and I'm like, you sure this is all subject to a sales, the sales or sales tax? Because I think the sales tax exemption they're looking for, they had it figured at like 880,000, yeah, 880. And they're doing it based on a value of 11 million. So they're going to look into that too. I also think that they have a large part of their expenses would be covered under the capital improvements category with the normal exemption, but that, we may find that doesn't necessarily run to resorts or commercial properties. I don't know that for a fact, but anyway, we will get their application. We have the application fee. They wired that, in fact, they wired it to us before they left the meeting. And so what recommendation to the board is accept the application, and I'll get to work. This one, not that we're going to not push Champlain Hudson aside, but this will be my priority, because these guys will want to get up and get moving.
Right.
Get moving.
Yeah, so we just need we need a motion to accept the application as presented.
So moved.
Okay, need a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? All right.
So, as it turns out, I always love when I put my report out to you and everything gets totally changed between the time I wrote it to you. But on the Astoria Motor Lodge, I did get contacted yesterday by, yesterday or the day before, either, Alex Becky, who we all know locally here. Alex is the attorney representing the new buyers. And we didn't talk a ton about the project, but I would say there'll be an application pending shortly from them. And I think he told me in their case, they probably don't want to get working until spring and on the buildings, which gives us a little time. Okay, these other guys really want to get going on the Thompson House, so I'm gonna push them through. Try to get them through in 3 months or less. Yeah, next spring. So, yeah. So anyway, we should see another application coming from the Astoria. And so between energy and hospitality seems to be the trend that we're in here for a little while.
Grind out some little fees.
Yeah, grind out some little fees.
Where's the Astoria? Which
Weeds. The story right past Carl's Brookville Winkle, as you start to go over the hill down in that dip into, yeah, left hand
It's
side.
a big place. They've been doing a lot of work onto it the last year, then they stopped.
Yeah.
Now it's a mess.
Does he have any plans? I mean, did Alex give any sense as to what the new buyers are thinking, or is it just rehabbing like on the existing kind of footprint?
No, rehabbing and adding additional cabins, you know, the typical millennial type stuff, fire pits down by the river, you know, maybe put a new pool, some other things, pickleball courts, that type of stuff. But it did sound like they were going to increase the number of keys. They new cabins in addition to fixing the old cabins. But if anybody's been by it lately, it always looked a little rough because it was an old resort. I mean, it looks terrible now. They got the siding.
It's coming out of Legion on the right-hand side before you get to Anthony's. It's a big old resort. It was beautiful at one time.
Yeah.
Now they tore the building all
Yeah,
apart.
see, gutted everything, and then the rumor on the street from multiple sources is that the contractor ran off with a few $100,000. This is what I've heard from multiple people. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I had met with the guy who had bought it, and I thought he was fact, when I met with him, I thought he was well underwater and over his head. And I met with him with the intent of trying to maybe see if we could help, but before I threw out an offer, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut on this one, because I think this one's not gonna handle it. And I don't want a name on it, and I was right, it didn't end well. And I'm sorry that it didn't end well, but anyway. So that's on that, we should have another one coming on that. And, as already said, with Riverfront Ventures, things are progressing well, all the foundation work is now in. They're waiting on the steel. They're having a little bit of an issue on getting some of the steel components they're looking for. I talked to the guy from Bishop Quadri yesterday. They're having trouble with the mill rolling some of the special profile they need too, so they're working through all that. The good news is they did not take any damage down there on the roofs, or didn't get set backwards, let's put it that way. And I don't know if Alex posted any, you said you saw one of the videos, but they were over the building while I was down there. They did get video. I was trying to get video, it was too wet, man. My phone, every time I put it on, it just, so is what it is. On Freepoint Solar, I was supposed to meet with him yesterday, but he called me, they were coming for an Athens CBA meeting. That got canceled. He still offered to come down. I was gonna have him meet me at my shop because I was doing a roof, and I just said, look, I'll meet you next week. I got bigger priorities. But, we're just trying to get these guys off the dime and execute the freaking agreements and get moving on the thing. And, their lawyer was using some kind of excuse to do it to material terms, which I don't buy, because the material terms are just what the investment is, not a time frame. And so I'm gonna check the pilot agreement and make sure that if there's any changes we can make to take date sensitivity out. Maybe it needs to say, instead of this date, upon start of construction or upon start of operation, and get them to sign and pay us our darn fee. That's what I'd like to do on that. And then lastly, on Camptown, they've completed their first renovations on the cabins. They are open right now and running it still under the Winkle Motor Lodge, which I knew they intended to do. They figure they will run it under Rip Van Winkle until they get it completely done and, ready to turnkey the whole operation. Then they'll switch it over to the Camptown.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were doing. There's no stupid, there. So literally, that's it. Most of the things have been relatively quiet. We're doing meetings with people. They aligned that with a yogurt company to look at one of our sites. We'll see what happens. I don't know where we stand. I think we got some limitations with the availability of milk in close proximity.
Yeah.
They seem to think within an hour would work, but, and of course it's all top secret, but April figured out who it was because they happened to figure
Maybe wouldn't.
it's only can only be one French yogurt maker making French yogurt in Saratoga Springs. So that way, we pretty well got it figured out. But there were a couple of French people that came in that with us. So, we'll just at this point wait and see. Literally that's all I have, unless anybody else has anything else. Like I said, this one will be short and sweet. It might be literally the shortest idea meeting
I
ever.
think so.
12 minutes.
We've been in the longest ones ever, so.
We've been in the longest ones ever, that's
Only the three of us, I can say that probably. You guys missed a good long.
You guys
Go
missed.
to like noon, 1 o'clock.
Good.
Yeah, we have fun.
those ones. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got.
All right, so I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. And you guys obviously know about Brian, so that means,
Maggie, I'm gonna end the meeting now.
How bad was it?